What if I told you that every person you admire, every hero you look up to, every successful individual you wish you could be like was once terrible at the very thing they're now famous for? Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Einstein failed his university entrance exam. Beyoncé lost her first talent show. They weren't born awesome, they became awesome. Today, we're diving into You Are Awesome by Matthew Syed, a book that shatters the myth of natural talent and reveals the real secret to achievement. This isn't another book telling you you're special just because you exist. It's about discovering how you can become genuinely awesome through effort, practice, and most importantly, learning from failure. If you've ever felt like you're not smart enough, talented enough, or good enough to achieve your dreams, the next hour will completely change how you think about ability and success. Get ready and how you can develop any skill you're willing to work for. Part 1. The Myth of Natural Talent. We live in a world obsessed with natural talent. We see someone playing piano beautifully and think they were born with magical fingers. We watch athletes perform incredible feats and assume they have special genes. We hear about young entrepreneurs and believe they possess innate business brilliance. But this is all wrong. Matthew Syed knows this firsthand. He became the British #1 table tennis player, but he wasn't born with a ping pong paddle in his hand. He lived on a street where, by pure coincidence, one of the country's top table tennis coaches set up a club in a garage. All the kids on that street had access to excellent coaching and countless hours of practice. Guess what happened? That one ordinary street produced more top table tennis players than the rest of the entire country combined. This wasn't because of something in the water or special genes. It was opportunity plus practice. The kids weren't naturally talented. They just had the perfect conditions to develop skill. They had access to coaching, equipment, and most importantly, a culture that encouraged practice. Think about Mozart, often cited as the ultimate child prodigy. People say he was composing at age 5, proving natural genius. They find the same pattern. What looks like talent is actually thousands of hours of deliberate practice. Behind every overnight success is years of unseen effort. Behind every natural is someone who worked unnaturally hard. Part 2. The Growth Mindset Revolution. Carol Dweck's research on mindset changed everything we understand about achievement. She discovered people generally have one of two mindsets. A fixed mindset believes abilities are static. You're either smart or you're not. A growth mindset believes abilities can be developed. You can become smarter through effort. These mindsets create completely different realities. Fixed mindset people avoid challenges because failure would prove they're not smart. Growth mindset people embrace challenges because failure is how they learn. Fixed mindset people give up easily. Growth mindset people persist through difficulties. Here's a fascinating experiment. Researchers gave students an impossible puzzle to solve. Fixed mindset student quickly said things like, "I'm not good at puzzles," and gave up. Growth mindset students said things like, "I haven't figured it out yet," and kept trying different strategies. Same puzzle, completely different responses based on belief about ability. The mindset you have literally changes your brain. When growth mindset people face challenges, their brains show more activity. They're processing, learning, making connections. Fixed mindset brains show less activity. They've already decided they can't do it, so their brains don't even try. You can change your mindset. It starts with language. Instead of saying, "I'm bad at math," say, "I'm still learning math." Instead of, "I can't do this," say, "I can't do this yet." That simple word, yet, transforms limitation into possibility. It acknowledges current reality while leaving room for growth. Watch how you praise others, especially children. Don't say, "You're so smart." Say, "You worked really hard." Don't praise being. Praise intelligence or talent. You create fixed mindset. When you praise effort and strategy, you create growth mindset. This tiny difference shapes entire lives. Part 3. The Power of Practice. Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. If you practice the wrong technique, you'll permanently embed bad habits. This is why deliberate practice, not just any practice, is crucial for improvement. Deliberate practice has specific characteristics. First, it focuses on weakness, not strength. Most people practice what they're already good at because it feels good. But improvement comes from working on what you can't do. If you're learning guitar, don't just play songs you know. Work on the chord changes that trip you up. Second, deliberate practice requires full concentration. You can't improve while distracted. This is why 10 minutes of focused practice beats an hour of mindless repetition. Your brain needs to be fully engaged to build new neural pathways. Watching TV while practicing doesn't count. Third, deliberate practice involves immediate feedback. You need to know what you're doing wrong to fix it. This is why coaches are valuable. They see what you can't and provide correction. Without feedback, you might practice mistakes for years without knowing. Fourth, deliberate practice is uncomfortable. If practice feels easy and fun, you're probably not improving. Growth happens at the edge of your ability, where you're constantly reaching for something just beyond your grasp. This discomfort is the feeling of your brain building new connections. The 10,000-hour rule is famous but misunderstood. It's not that 10,000 hours automatically makes you expert. It's that experts typically have 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. You could play chess casually for 20,000 hours and still be amateur. But 10,000 hours of deliberate practice creates mastery. Part 4, failure as your secret weapon. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a requirement for success. Every failure contains information you can't get any other way. It shows you what doesn't work, forcing you to find what does. Without failure, there's no learning. James Dyson created 5,126 failed prototypes before his revolutionary vacuum cleaner worked. Each failure taught him something. The bag kept clogging? Try bagless. The suction wasn't strong enough? Redesign the cyclone. He didn't fail 5,126 times. He learned 5,126 lessons that led to success. The problem is we're taught to fear failure from childhood. Red marks on tests feel like wounds. Being wrong in class feels humiliating. We learn to avoid failure at all costs, but this fear of failure becomes fear of trying. We stick to what we know we can do, never discovering what we could do. Silicon Valley has a different relationship with failure. They celebrate it. Fail fast, fail cheap is their motto. They even have failure parties where entrepreneurs share their biggest failures. They understand that if you're not failing, you're not innovating. Every failure brings you closer to breakthrough. Your brain actually learns better from failure than success. When you succeed, your brain relaxes. Mission accomplished. Nothing to change. But when you fail, your brain goes into overdrive. It analyzes what went wrong, searches for solutions, and builds new neural pathways. Failure is literally how your brain grows. The key is changing your relationship with failure. Instead of "this proves I'm stupid," think "this shows me what to work on." Instead of "I'm a failure," think "this attempt failed." You are not your failures. You're a person learning from failed attempts. This shift changes everything. Part 5, the myth of overnight success. Every overnight success story is a lie. Not a deliberate lie, but a lie of omission. We see the moment of triumph, but not the years of preparation. We see the victory, but not the thousands of defeats that preceded it. This creates unrealistic expectations that lead to premature quitting. Ed Sheeran seems like he came from nowhere, right? Wrong. He started writing songs at 11. He played over 300 gigs in 1 year alone. He released 5 independent EPs before anyone noticed. He slept on couches and played to empty rooms for years. The overnight success took a decade of invisible work. Instagram makes this worse. We see highlight reels, not behind the scenes. We see the published book, not the 50 rejections. We see the profitable business, not the years of losses. We see the fit body, not the daily workouts. Social media shows results without process. J.K. Rowling's story is particularly instructive. Harry Potter was rejected 12 times. She was a single mother on welfare, writing in cafes because they were warmer than her flat. Even after publication, the first print run was only 500 copies. The global phenomenon started with years of rejection and struggle. The overnight success myth makes us impatient. We expect immediate results. When we don't get them, we assume we don't have what it takes. We quit just before the breakthrough. We're comparing our beginning to someone else's middle, not seeing their beginning was just as messy as ours. Here's the truth about breakthroughs. They follow a predictable pattern. Long periods of no visible progress, then sudden improvement. It's like water heating. Nothing seems to happen from 30 to 90 degrees. Then, suddenly, at 100, it transforms to steam. Success works the same way. Invisible progress accumulates until it suddenly becomes visible. Part 6. The science of skill development. Your brain is plastic, literally changeable throughout your life. Every time you practice, you're physically rewiring your neural networks. This isn't metaphor. Brain scans show visible changes in people learning new skills. Your brain is constantly rebuilding itself based on what you do. When you learn something new, your brain creates connections between dots, neurons. The more you practice, the stronger these connections become. Eventually, they develop myelin sheets, like insulation on electrical wires, making signals travel up to 100 times faster. This is how skills become automatic. This process works at any age. The myth that you can't teach an old dog new tricks is completely false. Adult brains remain plastic throughout life. 70-year-olds can learn new languages. 80-year-olds can learn instruments. Your brain never stops being capable of change. The key is understanding how skill develops. First comes cognitive stage, where you're consciously thinking about every movement. Learning to drive, you think, turn wheel left, press brake, check mirror. This stage feels awkward and exhausting because your conscious mind is controlling everything. Next comes associative stage, where patterns start forming. You still make mistakes, but fewer than before. Movements become smoother. You don't have to think about every detail. Your brain is building efficient pathways, consolidating separate actions into chunks. Finally comes autonomous stage, where skill becomes automatic. You drive without thinking about driving. You type without looking at keys. Your brain has built dedicated neural highways for this skill. It feels natural, but it's actually the result of physical brain changes from practice. Part 7. The importance of struggle. Struggle isn't a sign you're not meant to do something. It's a sign you're learning. When everything feels easy, you're not growing. Growth happens in the struggle zone, where you're challenged but not overwhelmed. This is where brains build new capabilities. Think about video games. They perfectly calibrate struggle. Too easy and you're bored. Too hard and you quit. But just right difficulty keeps you playing for hours. You fail repeatedly, but keep trying because the challenge matches your skill plus a bit more. Life skills work exactly the same way. Schools often get this work. They make struggle feel like failure instead of growth. Students who breeze through without effort are praised as smart. Students who struggle are labeled slow. But the struggling students are the ones whose brains are growing. Easy success teaches nothing. Weight training provides perfect metaphor. Muscles grow by being stressed to failure. You lift until you can't lift anymore. The muscle fibers tear. Then, during recovery, they rebuild stronger. No stress, no growth. The burn you feel is literally your muscles being forced to adapt. Your brain works similarly. Mental struggle is your brain being forced to adapt. The confusion you feel learning something new is your neurons searching for new connections. The frustration of not getting it is your brain building new pathways. Struggle is the feeling of growth happening. Embrace productive struggle. When something feels hard, remind yourself, this is my brain growing. When you want to quit, remember growth happens just beyond comfort zone. When you fail, Celebrate that you're attempting something challenging enough to fail at. Part 8. The role of feedback. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. Without feedback, you can't improve. You might practice for years without getting better because you don't know what to fix. Feedback shows you the gap between where you are and where you want to be. But not all feedback is equal. Good feedback is specific, actionable, and timely. Your presentation needs work is useless feedback. Your eye contact dropped during the statistics section. Try looking at different audience members while presenting numbers is useful feedback. One gives vague judgment. The other gives specific improvement direction. The best performers seek constant feedback. Athletes watch game footage. Musicians record themselves. Writers join critique groups. They want to know what they're doing wrong because that's what they can fix. They've learned to separate feedback from personal attack. Most people have feedback because it hurts. Nobody likes hearing what they're doing wrong, but this avoidance keeps you stuck. You keep making the same mistakes because you don't know you're making them. Fear of feedback is fear of growth. Create feedback systems. If you're learning piano, record yourself weekly. If you're improving fitness, track measurements. If you're building a skill, find someone ahead of you to evaluate your progress. Make feedback regular and systematic, not random and emotional. Learn to process feedback effectively. First, listen without defending. Your instinct will be to explain or justify. Resist this. Just listen. Second, ask clarifying questions. Make sure you understand exactly what needs improvement. Third, thank the person. They've given you a gift, even if it doesn't feel like it. Fourth, create action plan. Feedback without action is just criticism. Part 9. Building resilience. Resilience isn't about being tough or strong. It's about bouncing back. It's the ability to fail, feel the disappointment, learn the lesson, and try again. Resilience is like a muscle that grows stronger with use. The Japanese have a concept called Kaizen, meaning continuous improvement. It's not about perfection, but about being slightly better today than yesterday. This philosophy builds resilience because failure isn't catastrophic. It's just information for tomorrow's improvement. Resilient people have different self-talk. When they fail, they don't say, "I'm worthless." They say, "This didn't work. What can I try next?" They don't globalize failure to their entire identity. They localize it to specific attempt. This protects their motivation to continue. Post-traumatic growth is real. Many people become stronger after setbacks. They develop capabilities they didn't know they had. They discover reserves of strength through adversity. The challenge that seems like it might break you often becomes what makes you. Build resilience deliberately. Start with small challenges. See showers, difficult puzzles, uncomfortable conversations. Each small victory over discomfort builds your resilience muscle. You prove to yourself you can handle discomfort and survive. The resilience formula is simple. Face fear, survive experience, gain confidence, face bigger fear. Each cycle expands your capability. What once seemed impossible becomes manageable. What once terrified you becomes exciting challenge. You don't become fearless. You become fear-friendly. Part 10. The power of yet. The word yet is magical. It transforms fixed statements into growth statements. I can't do algebra becomes I can't do algebra yet. I'm not good at public speaking becomes I'm not good at public speaking yet. This tiny word changes everything. Children naturally use growth language until we train it out of them. A toddler doesn't say, "I can't walk." They just keep trying. They don't say, "I'm bad at talking." They babble and improve. Some limited, yet creates possibility where none existed. It acknowledges current reality while keeping future open. It's honest about where you are without imprisoning you there. It's the bridge between present inability and future capability. Start adding yet to your vocabulary. Monitor your self-talk. When you catch yourself making fixed statements, add yet. I don't understand this becomes I don't understand this yet. This simple practice rewires your brain for growth. Teach yet to others, especially children. When they say they can't do something, gently add yet. When they compare themselves negatively to others, remind them everyone is on different timelines. Someone else's chapter 10 doesn't diminish your chapter 1, yet also applies to success. I haven't achieved my goal yet doesn't mean failure. It means you're still in process. Every master was once a disaster. Every expert was once a beginner. Every success story has a yet chapter where nothing was working yet. Part 11, the practice of deliberate mistakes. Making mistakes on purpose sounds crazy, but it's a powerful learning tool. When you deliberately make mistakes in practice, you learn the boundaries of correctness. You understand why the right way is right by experiencing what happens when you do it wrong. Musicians practice mistakes deliberately. They play wrong notes to understand harmony better. They break rhythm to feel timing more clearly. They exaggerate dynamics to find the sweet spot. Deliberate mistakes teach precision through contrast. In safe environments, make mistakes intentionally. If you're learning to cook, deliberately oversalt something to understand seasoning. If you're learning to write, deliberately write badly to understand what makes writing good. If you're learning sport, deliberately use the learning they provide. This completely transforms your relationship with error. Mistake practice also builds recovery skills. In performance, mistakes happen. If you've never practiced recovering from mistakes, you'll panic when they occur. But if you've deliberately practiced mistakes and recovery, you'll handle them smoothly. Create mistake journal. Document your mistakes and what they taught you. Celebrate mistakes that led to breakthrough understanding. Share mistakes with others learning similar skills. Make mistakes normal, valuable, even enjoyable part of learning process. Part 12, the support system secret. No one succeeds alone. Behind every achievement is network of support. Teachers, coaches, family, friends, even rivals who push you to improve. Recognizing and building your support system is crucial for becoming awesome. Different people provide different support. Some offer technical knowledge. Others provide emotional encouragement. Some challenge you to do better. Others comfort you when you fail. You need all types. Don't expect one person to provide everything. Mentors accelerate learning dramatically. They've already made the mistakes you're about to make. They can guide you around pitfalls and toward effective strategies. Finding mentor isn't about asking someone important to mentor you. It's about learning from anyone ahead of you on the path. Peers provide different value than mentors. They're facing similar challenges simultaneously. You can share struggles, exchange strategies, and celebrate progress together. Study groups work because peers learn from teaching each other. Even competitors contribute to growth. They show you what's possible. They push you to improve. They provide benchmark for progress. Without competition, you might settle for good enough. With competition, you reach for excellence. Build your support system intentionally. Join clubs or groups focused on your interest. Find online communities of learners. Seek out teachers and coaches. Don't wait for support to find you. Actively create the network you need to grow. Part 13. The process versus outcome trap. Focusing on outcomes paradoxically reduces likelihood of achieving them. When you obsess about winning, you tighten up. When you fixate on results, you miss the process that creates results. The secret is falling in love with process, not outcome. Athletes perform best when they focus on process. Instead of thinking about winning, they think about technique. Instead of score, they focus on next play. This process focus keeps them present, relaxed, and performing optimally. Outcome focus creates anxiety that impairs performance. Process focus also makes journey enjoyable. If you only care about outcome, the months or years of work become suffering you endure for brief moment of achievement. But if you love process, every day becomes rewarding. The journey becomes destination. Create process goals, not outcome goals. Instead of, I'll lose 2 pounds, make goal, I'll exercise 30 minutes daily. Instead of, I'll write novel, Make goal, I'll write 500 words daily. Process goals are completely within your control. Outcome goals often aren't. Process-focused builds sustainable motivation. Outcome motivation dies after achieving or failing to achieve outcome, but process motivation renews daily. Each day offers opportunity to engage with process you love, regardless of ultimate outcome. Track process, not just outcomes. Record practice hours, not just performance scores. Measure effort, not just results. Celebrate showing up, not just winning. This builds identity around doing, not achieving. You become someone who does the work, and results follow naturally. Part 14, the comparison trap. Comparing yourself to others is motivation killer. There's always someone better, making you feel inadequate. There's always someone worse, making you feel complacent. Either way, comparison takes focus off your own growth. Social media makes comparison epidemic. Everyone presents their best self online. You compare your behind scenes to their highlight reel. You see their success, but not their struggle. This creates illusion that everyone except you has it figured out. The only meaningful comparison is with yesterday's you. Are you better than you were last week, last month, last year? This comparison motivates without discouraging. It acknowledges progress while maintaining growth mindset. Different people have different advantages. Someone might have started earlier, had better coaching, or more practice time. Comparing without context is meaningless. You don't know their full story, only the part you can see. Instead of comparing, learn from others. See someone better? Study what they do differently. See someone struggling? Remember your own struggles and offer encouragement. Transform comparison from judgment into learning opportunity. Create personal scoreboard. Track your own metrics, not relative position. Celebrate personal records, not beating others. Measure growth rate, not absolute position. This keeps focus on what you control, your own effort and improvement. Part 15, the environment effect. Your environment shapes you more than you realize. Surround yourself with excellence, and you'll rise to meet it. Surround yourself with mediocrity, and you'll sink to match it. Environment isn't just physical space, but people, culture, and expectations around you. The Kenyan running phenomenon isn't genetic, it's environmental. Kids grow up where running is valued, where champions train daily, where success seems possible. They run to school, they see role models, they believe they can succeed because others from their environment have. Create environment that supports growth. If you want to read more, keep books visible and phones hidden. If you want to exercise, lay out workout clothes night before. If you want to eat healthy, stock fridge with good options. Make good choices easier than be ones. Your social environment matters most. Jim Rohn said your average of 5 people you spend most time with. This isn't mystical, it's practical. You unconsciously adopt attitudes, habits, and standards of those around you. Choose your inner circle deliberately. Digital environment counts too. What you consume online shapes your thinking. Follow accounts that inspire growth. Unfollow those that promote comparison or negativity. Curate information diet as carefully as food diet. Mental nutrition matters. Sometimes growth requires changing environment. The hometown that feels comfortable might be holding you back. The friend group that accepts you as you are might be preventing you from becoming who you could be. Growth often requires uncomfortable environmental changes. Part 16, the power of visualization. Mental practice is almost as effective as physical practice. Brain scans show that imagining an action activates same neural pathways as performing it. Visualization isn't mystical thinking. It's scientific preparation that improves actual performance. Athletes use visualization systematically. They mentally rehearse perfect performance repeatedly. They imagine different scenarios and how they'll handle them. They see themselves succeeding in vivid detail. This mental practice builds confidence and neural pathways for success. But visualization must be done correctly. Don't just imagine winning. Imagine the process that leads to winning. See yourself doing the work, handling challenges, recovering from mistakes. Visualize the journey, not just destination. This prepares you for reality, not fantasy. Include all senses in visualization. Don't just see success. Hear the sounds, feel the sensations, smell the environment. The more vivid and complete your mental practice, the more effective it becomes. Your brain can't distinguish between vivid imagination and reality. Visualize failure recovery too. See yourself making mistakes and recovering smoothly. Imagine things going wrong and yourself adapting. This mental preparation means you won't panic when reality doesn't match ideal. You've already practiced handling imperfection. Combine visualization with physical practice. Mental practice alone won't make you expert, but mental practice plus physical practice accelerates improvement dramatically. Use visualization to rehearse between physical sessions, multiplying practice time without physical fatigue. Part 17. The confidence cycle. Confidence isn't requirement for action. It's result of action. Waiting to feel confident before trying ensures you'll never try. The cycle works opposite to what most believe. Action creates success. Success creates confidence. Confidence enables bigger action. Start with smallest possible action. If you want to become runner, don't start with marathon. Start with walking around block. Success at tiny challenge builds micro-confidence for slightly bigger challenge. Momentum builds gradually. Confident is domain-specific. Being confident in one area doesn't automatically transfer to others. The pianist might be terrified of public speaking. The CEO might be intimidated by dancing. Each domain requires its own confidence-building cycle. Past success creates future confidence. This is why documenting progress matters. Keep record of overcome challenges. When facing new obstacle, review evidence of past resilience. You've survived 100% of your bad days so far. Fake confidence becomes real confidence through action. Acting confident when you don't feel it isn't lying, it's practicing. Do the thing you do if you were confident. Your emotions will eventually catch up to your actions. Confidence is an absence of fear. It's feeling fear and acting anyway. Everyone feels fear. Confident people have just learned fear doesn't have to stop them. They've discovered they can function effectively, even while afraid. Part 18. The learning zone. Peak performance happens in flow state. Peak learning happens in struggle state. The learning zone is where you're challenged just beyond current ability. Too easy and you don't grow. Too hard and you can't process. The sweet spot is 15% beyond comfort zone. Identify your current learning zone for each skill. What feels challenging but not impossible? That's where to focus effort. As you improve, the zone moves. What was once learning zone becomes comfort zone. You must constantly adjust challenge level. The learning zone feels uncomfortable. You make mistakes frequently. You feel frustrated regularly. You want to quit occasionally. These feelings aren't signs you're in wrong place. They're signs you're exactly where growth happens. Schools often misunderstand this. They keep advanced students in comfort zone, boring them. They push struggling students into panic zone, overwhelming them. Personalized challenge level is crucial for optimal learning, but rarely provided. Create your own learning zone challenges. If textbook is too easy, find harder problems online. If class moves too fast, find additional resources for foundation. Take responsibility for calibrating your own challenge level. Don't wait for perfect instruction. The learning zone is temporary. Once you master something, it moves to comfort zone. This is why continuous growth requires continuously seeking new challenges. Comfort is enemy of growth. Seek discomfort deliberately and strategically. Part 19. The story you tell yourself. The most powerful story in your life is the one you tell yourself about yourself. This internal narrative shapes everything. What you attempt, how you interpret events, whether you persist or quit. Change your story, change your life. Notice your current story. What do you tell yourself about your abilities, your potential, your past failures? These stories feel like truth, but they're just interpretations. The same events could support, "This proves I'm stupid." Growth mindset story. "This shows what I need to study more." Same event, Different story, different outcome. One leads to giving up, other to improvement. You can edit your story. You're not stuck with narrative you've been telling. Identify limiting stories and rewrite them. I'm not athletic becomes I haven't developed athletic skills yet. I'm bad at math becomes I'm still building math understanding. Your story influences other stories about you. When you say you're bad at something, people believe you and treat you accordingly. When you say you're learning something, they support your growth. Your story becomes self-fulfilling prophecy. Write your future story now. Describe who you're becoming, not who you've been. Make it growth story, not fixed story. Make it about effort and learning, not talent and ease. Live into this story daily through your choices and actions. Part 20. The compound effect of small gains. 1% improvement seems insignificant. But 1% daily improvement for a year makes you 37 times better. Small gains compound into dramatic transformation. This is how ordinary people achieve extraordinary results. The compound effect is invisible initially. Improving 1% today looks identical to yesterday, but improvements stack. After 100 days of 1% improvement, you're 270%. Compound 2. Skipping one workout doesn't matter. Skipping workouts regularly destroys fitness. Eating one cookie doesn't matter. Eating cookies daily creates health problems. Small bad choices compound into big problems. Focus on trajectory, not position. Are you improving or declining? Even tiny improvement is better than tiny decline. The direction matters more than speed. Consistent small gains beat inconsistent big gains over time. We've journeyed through the science and psychology of becoming awesome. The message is clear and empowering. Awesome isn't born. It's built. Through effort, practice, and learning from failure, you can develop any skill you're willing to work for. The fixed mindset that says you either have it or you don't is a lie that keeps you small. The growth mindset that says you can develop ability through effort is the truth that sets you free. You're not limited by your current capabilities. You're only limited by your willingness to grow. Every master once a disaster. Every expert was once a beginner. Every hero was once someone who fell down repeatedly but kept getting up. The difference between those who become awesome and those who don't isn't talent. It's persistence through the learning process. Your failures aren't verdicts on your potential. Embrace failure as teacher. Track small improvements. Build supportive environment. Tell yourself growth story. Trust the compound effect. You are not yet awesome at everything you could be awesome at. That yet makes all the difference. It means your story is still being written. Your potential is still unfolding. Your awesome is still developing. And that's the most exciting truth of all. The world needs your awesome. It needs what you could contribute if you developed your capabilities fully. Don't deprive the world of what you could become because you believe you can't. You can. You just can't yet. But with effort, practice, and persistence, yet becomes now. Thank you for joining this exploration of human potential. May you embrace growth mindset in all areas of life. May you see failures as teachers, not verdicts. May you understand that struggling means growing. And may you discover just how awesome you can become when you combine belief with effort. Remember, you're not awesome because you're special. You're special because you chose to become awesome through dedication and work. That choice is available every day. Make it. Your awesome awaits.